YouTube?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Um, cool. Okay. Do you want me to like quickly explain this, or
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
we can
because I
start?
thought knockback stacking would make him go like not down, right?
So the stacking thing, like, if you do it quick enough, then it doesn't like take effect here. The moves have to be like
Oh,
10 frames apart, I think it is. So if you're
oh,
too,
so
yeah, so if you're too quick here, they just go as if they got dead normally. So you needed to just delay the down air a little bit, and then
I
you'd,
see.
and then you'd still go down, but it would be like a lot slower. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, so we've got a ranked coaching session today. So for that, I need you to sort of like share your screen, and then I
Oh, is
can
that what
watch
I
you.
booked?
Yeah, yeah. We can do something else if you want. Like, I don't mind.
Um, I mean, whatever. I put in the notes what I wanted to talk about was like basic flowcharts and stuff.
Common flow charts, neutral game plan. Okay. Do you have any like Slippy VODs you can send me, or any sort of gameplay I can
I
watch
could
just
just
so I?
play right now because if I
Yeah,
send you
sure.
some VODs, I found a lot of trolls yesterday.
Okay. Yeah, literally, like I only need to watch like maybe one game, two games, and that should be enough.
I'll just show you. I'll just play right now.
Okay.
You can coach me through it if you want.
Yeah,
Notice
yeah.
anything. I have weird skin sometimes, but it's mostly in melee.
Fair enough.
Oh, I suck against Peach.
A lot of people do, don't worry.
I know backers like good against her.
Yeah, yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I mean, just tell me your thoughts as you're playing, and then I can sort of get an idea of like where we're at. Um,
I'm not so sure this Peach is very good.
yeah, yeah, they're not too good.
Usually the good Peaches just sit in that spot in the air and it bothers me because I
Yeah,
can't hit
yeah,
them.
it's a really good spot for them.
Tried to shield grab. Big mistake. See, there's that spot.
Yeah,
There it is.
yeah, yeah.
Shouldn't he be chain throwing me?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on like your DI and the percent and where the platform is and all that stuff. Like you said, I think this person's kind of well, not new, but they're missing a lot from their game.
It would be better just do ranked.
Yeah.
I find ranked to be pretty tough.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Well, I mean, after this one, I mean, I've got some notes from this one, but yeah, if you want to do like one ranked set, and then we can talk a bit.
Sure, that sounds good.
Okay,
Because,
cool.
oh, good against Falco? I suck against Falco. So I guess I want to. I mean, it doesn't matter what stage, right? Because he's the same
Yeah,
character.
whatever. Yeah, personal preference. I mean, game two, you probably want to counter pick based on their or ban based on their playstyle, but yeah, game one doesn't really matter.
I don't know what to do after those shines.
Yeah. Nice.
How did he know? Oh, nice. All right. He banned Fountain and Pokemon.
Yeah.
I don't really know. Final B because it
Yeah, I don't think
sucks.
it. Yeah, I don't think it matters too much here, to be honest.
Oh, Dreamland. Good.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like you're a lot better than that guy. In fairness,
Yeah.
I mean, I
I
still
don't.
have some stuff we can talk about if you want, but if you want to try to find someone better, like that's up to you.
Why don't we go over what things would you have in mind to talk about?
Yeah,
Like
yeah. So
combo
I
game
think
wise, right?
yeah, there's definitely some combo game stuff. I'd say you had like a few things in neutral that I noticed because I know you said that was one of the things, but they didn't really get punished, so it was like hard to sort of what's it called? Like make you want to focus on that if that makes sense because it isn't like getting you killed or anything.
Yeah, but it's good to
Um,
improve, right?
yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I think the first thing was I think you're relying a lot on like early aerials after your lasers, and you're doing it early now, which is decent because it's like all right on shield. But versus like spacies and people that are like better at moving out shield, and people that crouch cancel as well because that didn't happen either really.
Yeah.
Like the Peach you played against, if they'd have like crouched after any of the lasers that you like tried to approach after, like you could have taken quite a lot of damage. So I
Ah.
think look out for that a bit. Because what people generally do when you do those like mid height nairs is they sort of either crouch cancel or they try to like dash out of the way. So I'd maybe want you to think a little bit more about what you can do versus those sorts of things. If you play someone a bit better that catches on to that. Because what you're probably finding in the you said that like some of the rank games you play are really hard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's probably things like that where it's like you just don't know you have this like habit, and then somebody's like exploiting it, and you're not even like aware of it. If that makes sense.
You're saying I'm doing too many mid-level, mid-height
Mid
nairs?
height nairs, yeah, like after your lasers, it's like, and I mean it is a decent approach, but it's sort of like you're doing it in a lot of spots where if the opponent was quicker or more aware, then it's a lot riskier. So again, like if they started crouch canceling more, if they maybe wave dashed out of shield to get out of the way, um, took the laser and then like dashed back, like those sorts of things.
Okay.
So that was the main neutral thing. The other one was just I felt like you didn't do much like um, waiting for the opponent to whiff something and then trying to like pressure them after. It felt a lot of like you're just gonna jump forward with something and try and like win immediately off of your laser, if that makes sense. So like the Peach would be like whiffing like down smashes and like forward tilts and stuff like that, and there wasn't really any times when I felt like you just sort of waited for that sort of thing. Like there was on the platform, but I'd say that's a bit of an outlier, if that
I
makes
see.
sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Or another one would be like versus the Falcon doing stuff like laser, like dash dance bait Nair and then go in or something like that. Um, and then in
It's hard
terms,
to whip
oh, go on.
punish.
It is, yeah. So a lot of the time, what you have to do is you have to sort of like read what they're going to do after they whiff. So if you think they'll shield, you can approach with like a laser or a late aerial or a grab. Dash back, you can approach in laser, like that sort of thing. And you sort of need to have that switch in your mind, like, can I hit them for the lag that they're in now, or do I have to wait for the next thing? So there's that. I'd say for combo stuff, I'd say the shines when they sent them to the platform felt a little bit uncomfortable for you. I don't know if you feel like that as well. Like at low percent.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly screwed it up a lot.
Okay, but do you feel like you know what you're meant to do and you just miss the execution, or
Waveland to the platform and then shine again. That's about all I can think. Or if and then after you shine him, after that you down air him into the platform and then tech chase on the platform.
yeah, I mean, it depends on like the exact DI and the percents and all of that, but yeah, you usually want to wait for them to tech and then usually it's either like you read a tech in place or you try and like just react to the other options.
Okay.
Um, or you can do some like coverage with stuff like you could up air and then that hits like miss tech and tech in place or stuff like that.
You talking about from below
Um,
platform?
yeah, from below because you don't always have time to like get up there with a waveland and then tech chase.
I see.
So it really depends on the situation. Um, I'd say on the combo game on floaties as well. I feel like you want to try and, like you were saying, like Bear's really good versus Peach, right? So when you're ending your combos, you want to try and put her into a position where you can pressure her with Bear afterwards. So for example, instead of ending a combo with down air, you might want to end it with like up air or back air or something, because that puts them at that like diagonal angle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. And then let me just check what the other thing you wrote down on the Metafy thing was. In terms of practice, I felt like you had a bit of a hole in terms of like punishing some moves on shield. So like the Peach down smash, right? I think there was one time you did like a laser out of shield, and then there was one time you did tried to like grab, right?
Can you wave dash finish it?
Yeah. So you can wave dash shine it, and that's something you can just practice in Uncle Punch. But I'd get really comfortable doing that punish on, like Peach and Sheik down smash, Samus down smash, Marth F smash, Fox up smash, like all those things, right?
Okay.
But because you definitely have the tech skill to like wave dash out of shield and do stuff. It's just maybe that timing isn't there on those like specific moves. Maybe.
Or I didn't know I could wave dash out of shield.
Okay, fine. yeah. On a lot of character smash attacks, honestly, you can do that. And it's just nice because sometimes if you try an aerial out of shield, you don't really get much, or you try and shield grab and it doesn't have enough range. Those sorts of things. But yeah, that's what I'd say I picked up on so far. So I mean, if you want to do another one, or if you have any other like sort of questions.
Yeah, honestly, we could do another.
Yep.
But in terms of like edge guarding, that's also a struggle.
Okay. Versus what character? Or just in general?
I guess Fox. I mean, anyone but Falcon, really.
Mm-hmm.
I know Sheik. I'm learning I can just back air them out of their up Bs.
Yep. Yeah. I'd say the main thing with edge guarding that I think a lot of people misunderstand is that a lot of the time you can't actually like cover everything. So it's a lot better to just sort of like hard cover like 2 or 3 options, and then it's like, if they read that one option you leave open, then that's sort of like good on them,
Okay.
I think that helps a lot, but I'd sort of need to see some like more specific examples, if I'm honest.
Well,
like if you want to play, yeah, like if you want to play this one, and I'll look at the edge guards in a bit more depth. We can do that. But yeah,
how exactly do you do a mid height nair? Is that like jump nair?
I meant like just the nairs you were doing at the moment. They were hitting sort of like, it wasn't like you were hitting them whilst you were rising, but you weren't like really late with them either.
Okay. I don't know. What should I ban against Marth?
I'd say Fountain or Stadium, personally.
Stadium? Okay.
Yeah. Just because the combo game and no top platform's pretty rough.
Oh god.
It's unfortunate.
But that's what we want to see. Uh-oh.
Unlucky. Unlucky.
I didn't mean to up air.
Yeah. Nice.
Guy's so fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'd take a little bit of a break between games here, just so we can talk
Okay.
quickly. Yeah. So I feel like the main things that were going wrong there was, I feel like you put yourself above Marth a lot, which let him sort of like wall you out with up air, right, and up tilt and those things. And I think when you were in the corner or when you were in a bad position, I think you were just trying to like jump in and fight your way out too much, essentially. I'd go Battlefield or Yoshi's here probably. Yeah. So I think there was that. I thought your edge guards were pretty good, honestly, that game. And I'd also just like wait for him to move forward a bit more because it's a lot easier to hit people when they're moving forward compared to when he's like throwing out moves in place, right, or like moving back. Like
Okay.
make him do stuff like dash forward or like shield the laser and then wave dash forward or like jump forward with his aerial, right?
Okay.
Again, it's just that thing of like letting him whiff first before you try and do something. Um, yeah. So see how that goes.
Okay, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. I mean, you did SD as well, to be fair. So
Oh, not again.
very good.
He's so good at these power shields.
Yeah, it's tricky to play around.
Fair go beneath the stage?
Yeah, yeah. If they do it late enough,
Huh.
yeah.
Oops. Trying to be more patient, but
Uh,
he's not really going in.
yeah, yeah. Right. He doesn't seem too good at approaching, right? But he's pretty good at like walling you out and spacing you out. So play him where he's bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
I mean, he's good at the power
There you go.
shields.
Yeah, there you go.
What?
Oh, Falco moment. Nice.
There's the shield, laser at a shield.
Yeah, that's fine. Ooh.
Scary. Why is he down tilting? This guy's power shields are too good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a really good VOD. If you can send that over, we can go over that
Okay.
one. I think that would be really good. I think that literally highlights like pretty much everything I have wrote down. So
That's perfect. That's what I want to hear.
yeah. But I mean, I think that like even though the sort of the stock count was the same there, I think the you played a lot better that game after making some of those adjustments. Just had some unfortunate breaks. Cool.
Ready?
Okay, so let me know when you can see my stream.
I can see.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Um, yeah, so this will be the first one where I was talking about. You know, there's like how you end your combos, right? So I thought this shine was fine, but then I probably want you to like narrow back air or something here, just because he's only gonna fall to like probably here because of that stacking, right? And like you still have to sort of go like all the way up here and then fall back down and then go through all your lag over here and then throw a move out, right? So you're not really gonna have enough time, and a lot of the time Moth just gets a forward air out here and then reversals you, right? Which feels kind of bad. So yeah, I would just try and hit him like up and away, sort of like this way here. You know, get him off stage, make him have to drift into you. Does that make sense? Or
No, yeah, that makes sense.
okay, cool. Okay. And then yeah, I think a big theme I noticed just like from both games was I feel like dealing with his shield was quite hard, which is sort of what I was saying with the other ones, but they weren't really punishing you out of shield that much. So this guy was very good at, and this is going to sound kind of dumb, but like he was really good at shield grabbing, right? So like any sort of unsafe aerials you did, he was ready to grab. And anything like this where it feels like you have enough time, but he can get you first, right?
It did seem like a good laser, right?
Yeah, no, and it was a good laser, but it wasn't a laser that you can just go for a grab off and there's no sort of like downside. So the general rule with like laser grab is if you have to dash at all to get it, then they have like counterplay they can do, like grabbing first or like jumping out of the way or something. But if you landed, say, like here with the laser, then it's usually like pretty true unless they do something like spot dodge, which Moth isn't going to really do. Does that make sense? Or...
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So what I would do in this one, like if you want to play around the grab here, and what someone like Mango does a lot, is he'd jump in place here, and then do like a wait for the whiff, and sort of like the down air will like outspace it. Because if you imagine this is like Mod's grab, right, and then you've got your down air coming like out here, so That's one thing you
Yeah,
can
it's
do.
just a scary spot to be, right?
Yeah, or you can do like dash away here and then dash back in and jump in with an aerial. That can be pretty good if you bait out the grab. You could even like if you want to really hard call out this guy, you could literally just stand in place here and then like forward smash him. Yeah, literally. Yeah. Like if they're always doing this really preemptive grab, right? You know, you want to make them know that they can't do that. But yeah, I think if you keep that rule in mind, where like you need to be right next to them so that you don't have to dash, I think that'll help a lot. Because you see, like if I just play it, just
grab the dash.
yeah, grab the dash, right? So you can't even do like a dash aerial here or anything. It's just too slow.
I think I went for shine.
Yeah. Yeah, you do a lot of the dash jump shine, and I think it can be pretty good when it hits, but a lot of the time it also led to you being like above Moth or above Falcon or whoever. So you want to think about maybe like wave landing out of it to be a bit safer, you know, to a platform.
Okay. Yeah, that's
I
the
think that can
goal.
help. Yeah. This was good. A bit more. Okay. We can talk a little bit about power shielding if you want, because it sounded like you didn't have too many answers for that.
Sure.
So the first thing is the lowest 3 lasers. He can't really crouch power shield, or if he can, it's a 1 frame window usually. So that is the lowest like fast fall one you can do, which hits like sort of here. And then also if you don't fast fall the laser, there's another 2 heights you can get, which are like here and I think like here or something like that. But yeah, so they're the ones, if you want to just like make it as hard as possible for him, like shooting these low ones is pretty good. And the nice thing about the no fast fall ones is it's a lot bigger window, first of all. And also because it's so slow, like when you don't fast fall, it's a lot slower than usual, right? But
Yeah.
that sort of throws off this guy because he's expecting it to come at him really fast, and then it's like a lot slower than he expects. So a lot of people are actually really bad at power shielding those ones. So that can be pretty good. The other thing you can do, this depends a lot on the ranges, but at this range, if you shot another laser just in place, like jumped again, as long as you shot like maybe this height, you jump over the next one that comes at you. And then what happens is they usually try and like wave dash forward, right, or something, or like try and air at you. And then your second one hits them and sort of intercepts them. And then you have a really good situation, right? So that can be another thing, is jumping over the power shielded laser. But that depends a lot on like where you're positioned, how high your laser was, those sorts of things. And then the final one is if you land on top of him with a laser, you can shoot really high as well. And this is like Mango's favorite one, I'd say, is you can land really high, and when Falco lasers, he like ducks down, right? So you're sort of this bubble here, and the power shielded laser goes over you, and then you're just free to do whatever you want, right? You can shine, yeah. So that's like the 3 ways to deal with it, I'd say. But I mean, the other thing to think about as well, like some of these power shields, they don't actually do anything, right? Like watch this one. So you get power shielded, you dash back out of it, he tries to nair, and like, what's he doing, right? Like he's just whiffing in front of you for no reason. And like that power shield didn't really achieve anything, right?
Right.
So I think the most dangerous ones are the ones where like either it catches you really off guard, or he power shields like an approaching laser, right? Because then he gets a grab.
Yeah, that's how he killed me, I think.
Yeah. So that's where that like shooting a really high one or a really delayed low one, I'd say, is the best sort of like go-tos for that.
One thing I struggle with is playing too close to people. I think they call it scrapping.
Yeah, scrapping. Yeah, I think another thing I was going to say or point out was I felt like there wasn't too much of a distinction for you between like when you were in a really good spot and a really bad spot. It felt like you were trying to just get the hit, like regardless of those. Like it wasn't like, oh, I'm in the corner, I need to sort of like maneuver my way out in some way. It always felt like you were trying to just like push in and hit them. So one thing I was going to suggest, and it'll come up, is like when you're in the corner, maybe taking a bit more time. You know, maybe using stuff like full hop out of the corner, or just dash dancing and waiting for them to give up the space, right? Because this guy was like just sort of sitting here like walling you out, right, and just waiting for you to sort of run in. So if you let him do that and dash dance a bit, he just jumps and then you get a free laser and suddenly you've got like a load more control, right? So sometimes just waiting in the corner, just not being too angsty to like push out, I think would really help. But I'll point that out when it sort of comes up. Yeah, so that was that power shield situation. So this one, if you shot like either one higher, which I think is like this, or like a low one like this, both of those would have been amazing. So that's just something I'd sit down and practice a bit, is like getting that height, or getting either of those heights. Yeah, so that one was kind of tricky.
I think it started because I drifted forward on the initial throw off
Yeah.
on the stage.
Yeah. I mean, you just lost a mix-up on your recovery there. There's not too much to say, I don't think. Yeah, so this is one of the things I mean about the jump shine. So, like, with this one, I think if you'd have wave landed here, you'd end up with, like, a lot more pressure, right? Because you could, like, drop through with an aerial or something. But because you jump out of it, it sort of, like, takes quite a while to fall back down, right?
So let me just stop you right there. I
Yeah.
can do that in practice, but in a match, I can never do it in time.
Do it. Okay. Is it, like, you don't recognize the situation, or, like, you feel like you mess up the tech skill, or...
It feels too fast. Like the game is too fast. Like I can do it in a vacuum, or I'm ready
Yeah,
for
yeah,
it.
okay.
But I didn't know. I've been struggling with that for a while.
Okay. I mean, I think one thing that can help is like just only focusing on that for a match, like not caring about like if you win or lose or whatever. Just like only like my goal of this session is to try and do this like bit of tech right in game.
Yeah.
The other thing can be like sometimes like people will practice a tech in one way, and then the spots where it's applicable in game are a lot different. So like you might want to get a bot to shield like next to you and practice actually like jumping back, shining, and wave landing like in this exact situation, So I think that can help as well. But yeah. Yes, this is what I sort of meant with the aerial thing, by the way. This is just an example. You didn't get hit for it, but like you're about this range away, and then you try and jump in with an aerial, right? With this like
Non-fast fall in there.
Yeah. I mean, I think you would have been safe if you hit him on shield, which is good. But it's one of those where it's like he's so far away here that, and this is quite hard when you've played against bad players a lot. Is a lot of people like bad players shield here, right?
Yeah.
And then you just get the freest aerial of all time here, and you jump in, and you get to net, shield pressure, whatever. But better players won't still be here by the time you get there. They'll have either moved this way, or this way, or this way, or they'll have put a move out, usually. And can you see how sort of like all of those sorts of cover this aerial, other than this green one where they move like towards you, right? Like if they jump out of the way, they're going to avoid you. If they move back, they're going to avoid you. If Moth threw out like a fair here, he's going to sort of stuff you, right?
So what should I do instead?
Yeah. So there's quite a lot here, which is what makes it sort of complicated. But so if you thought he would dash back, for example, you could do like an approaching laser, right? And that's going to sort of catch him. If you think he's going to throw out a move, you could maybe, and this is where the sort of baiting him out comes in, you could like dash dance here, right? Because he's scared of this nair that you're doing.
I see.
So like he has to do one of these options, right? Yes, you can bait him out, That's also good versus the jump as well, because he jumps, he's in the air, and then you sort of get to laser him. So that's like the main three, I'd say. Shooting another laser in place here is also really good. Because if he moves back, the laser sort of like chases him and takes the space for you. He's not in range to like hit you for another laser. And if he jumps, he's just getting shot out of the air, right? So all of those are like not great for him. And he doesn't want to dash forward because you've been doing this aerial, right? So I think that's sort of a couple of ideas to work with here. It's a very like complex situation, and this sort of changes depending on each character. But that's the sort of things I want you to think about. It's not like where they are now, but where they could be. You know, these like green arrows. Like where are they going to be after?
Okay.
And what are they going to do to respond to this? Like, you're sort of presenting like the level 1 threat here, if that makes sense. And you seem really good at that. But then I think you're at this sort of roadblock where like the people that are good at dealing with that, you're sort of struggling with. Whereas, the people that don't deal with that, you are stomping pretty hard. So, yeah.
I guess he went back.
Yeah, he went back here. So this was one. I mean, I think he tried to like dash down, grab you or something. Yeah. So this would be one where you could approaching laser here. If you'd have shot another laser in place, this laser chases him along.
Right.
You're back here, and then you just move forward because this laser's keeping you safe, right? If you want to get tricky, you can do stuff like you could jump forward here. I mean, you're in the Discord, right? So I'm sure you've seen those gifs of like SP doing like a not fully going forward aerial, just like a half aerial. I can get you a clip if you haven't sort of seen that before.
Sure. I don't think I have.
Okay. Okay, I'll send it you after. But essentially, you instead of landing over here, which is where you try to land, you land in this spot here. And then Moth tries to like grab back here, right? And you sort of bait him.
So you do an aerial, but you don't.
You don't go all the way.
Forward.
Yeah. So you can do that. You can even do stuff like jump forward and then like waveland back. Can be good as well. If you've got that read that he's looking for that dash sense grab. You can make it as simple or as tricky as you want to. Really.
I see.
Yeah, so this was fine. So yeah, that does hit, let's say, just pretty annoying. I'd say one thing as well was you probably want to jump back a little bit more out of your like shine stalls and when you get hit off, because I feel like you were jumping inwards a lot.
Okay.
Obviously, it doesn't feel great being back here or not being, but what it forces Moth to do is it forces him to jump out if he wants to hard cover this, and that's very risky for him, right? And a lot of people aren't willing to do that. Because what if you just like double jump and down at him, right? He's gonna die. And once you are here, you have good mix-ups with your angles. You can go like this, you can go like this, you can go like this. And again, like we were saying before, you can't cover all of these usually. So I think that's important to present as well. As an option.
I don't know why he countered there.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I'm not gonna ride the wall.
Yeah. Nice, I really like that. So I like the idea here. But I think it's one of these ones where, like, if you're gonna do this, you want to, like, fully commit to it. So, like, you need to sort of be confident that you've baited him here, right? Like, he isn't gonna hit you now. So you need to be ready, like, now to just go in and sort of, like, get yourself out of the corner, right? But if you wait to try and see what happens, you've sort of lost all of your advantage you created for yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So I think some other options you could do here is just Waveland down could be pretty good out of shield. Wave dash down. Full hopping over here because it's generally a bit harder for Moth to hit the top platform than it is the side platform. But I did like this option you did as well. I would just maybe either, again, like get the laser out now, like as you're jumping back, or fall, specifically looking for him to, you know, throw out something like this fair, and then go in to try and... you'd probably have to read the thing he does after, which is sort of what I was saying before, so, you know, maybe you approaching laser with something, or maybe you jump over its down tilt with a down air, you know, something like that. But yeah, that would sort of be how I'd play this. But I like the idea in the first place to just like jump back and create a bit of space. Yeah, this is great. So look at this one, right? Sort of similar to that laser situation, right? But I think this one you knew you couldn't get there. So you bait out the grab, which is great. And then I think here again, so like the combo route. So you did the shine, which is great. But then you tried to like full hop. You might have missed your dash, I'm not sure. But you can see how like once you end up here, right? You're sort of at an awkward angle.
Yeah, I can't do shit.
Yeah, so where we want to be is like down here instead, ideally. Because then we've got that angle created, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so like anytime you don't think you have a combo versus like a floaty, I would always just try and default to that position, sort of like that,
Beneath
that
him?
angle. Yeah, like beneath and slightly to the side, just so your back air's at a really good angle. That was unfortunate. Yeah, so like this is another one as well. In terms of like being at a disadvantage, but then still trying to like force your way through. So I feel like here, you know, he nares you, he drifts away. You know, great, you've got a bit of space now, right? So if you jump away or you do that jump off that you did, right? But this isn't your time to really hit him and drop through, right? Because that's exactly what he's sort of looking for, almost. He's like, I'm spaced out, you know, if I dash back here, then I can try and, like, bait him and then come back in, right?
Okay.
But you can see if he dashes backwards here, and then you go this way, or you go up here, he can't really threaten you anymore, right? Or, again, even, like, just wave dashing down here. There's a lot of space here now, right? That you can use.
You don't think he could punish me going to the top platform that position? I mean, I'd have to, like, full hop drift to it, right?
Yeah, so, like, you would full hop up, and he would have to... he basically has to make a read on, like, how you're going to drift and, like, whether you're going to use your double jump, all those sorts of things. So it's a bit risky for him. The other thing is, like, he has to full hop double jump as well, usually, to catch the top platform here. Like, to catch you falling down.
Okay.
And you can always do stuff, like, you could full hop, like you were going to here, and then drift back this way, right? Or you could full hop, drift up here, and then, like, fast fall through with an aerial, or a laser, or a waveland. Like, you have a lot of things for him to be worried about here, if he's trying to, like, hit you going to the top. And again, it's just, like, it's not the best position in the world, but it's better than the spot you're in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And this is sort of what I mean by, like, instead of trying to get the hit now when it's really hard and, like, not in your favor, like, pick a better spot for that, you know? Like, try and reposition. And if he does ever try to, for instance, call out this option here, so maybe he, like, dashes forward and tries to, like, nair you or something, right? You know, he's crossing into this danger zone with the pink bit, right? So then suddenly that shield drop back air you were trying starts to work again, right?
Yeah.
So there's always this sort of, like, mix-up and like, thing of, if you're retreating, for him to call it out, he has to lose to your, like, aggressive option a lot of the time. But I think a lot of people get it backwards, and they try to do the aggressive option first.
I see what
sort
you're
of
saying.
like here. Yeah, right? Cool. Yeah, I think I see what you mean by the whiff punish thing. Because you're saying it's, like, pretty difficult to whiff punish, right? So, like, you obviously saw this and then was like, oh, I can go in.
Yeah.
but then he gets his
Yeah,
shield
that
up,
was
right?
definitely late.
Yeah. So, okay, so I'll explain something, and then I'll show you something in Uncle Punch, and then we can start to wrap up and sort of summarize all of this.
Okay.
So, Falco is a bit weird with his whiff punishes, where like a lot of characters they might like be on the ground and then like dash dance grab, right, or something like that. But Falco doesn't really have quick grounded options, right? Unless he's really close to them. Like if you were here, then maybe you'd have time to like dash in and grab him, right? Whereas Fox, you know, he can be over here and still like running shine or something, you know. So what Falco has to do is he has to either be a lot closer because he's slower on the ground, or he has to sort of like already be in the air while they're whiffing. And I'll show you what this looks like because I have a sort of a save state set up specifically for this because this actually happens a lot in lessons I do with people. So yeah, so let me close your one quickly. Can you still see like Uncle
Yeah, I
Punch and
can
everything?
see Uncle Punch.
Cool. Okay. So this is an example versus Sheik because it happens a lot versus Sheik as well. And it's just going to be Sheik doing a F tilt. So I'll just set it to 1. So I either have to be really close, like this, right? I can't be any further. I mean, even now she's like maybe getting her shield up, right? You know, I can maybe even running shine here. But if I want to just pure react, so this is really hard, right? And similarly, if I try to just down air this, she gets her shield up, right? Sort of similar to what was happening to you with Moth, right?
Yeah.
So what I was meaning by like being in the air already is you could do a sequence like, let me record this quickly. Sorry, I was timing it off. Like that, for example. So I'll just frame by frame this quickly. So I do the laser, and I'm hitting this laser. And I'm like, right, Sheik's gonna F tilt. Like I'm sort of reading the F tilt. So what I do is I dash back, get out of the way, and then I jump. And this creates enough space that this F tilt isn't just gonna hit me immediately, right?
Right.
And then once I see the F tilt, you know, I'm jumping in the air, I'm jumping towards her. I see the F tilt, and now I'm like, right, I can down air her now. And now I can get the whiff punish, right? Because I'm already quite close to her. Whereas when I try to just like raw like dash and then jump and then down air and then drift towards her, right, it takes a long time. And time is something that like you don't have a lot of the time with Falco.
Yeah.
And the good thing about this as well is, so I'm now going to make it where Sheik will also just not do the F tilt and instead will just wave dash back. And this is another reason why doing, like, a lot of people just sort of do this, right? I'm trying to get the timing for the grab to hit. There we go. Like, if you just try and, like, raw beat out the F tilt, you're just going to get sort of owned, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of the mix-up, right?
Yeah, but if you try to whiff punish in this way where you do this jump, right, watch what happens. So I'm just going to randomize this. So I can jump out of the way, right? But then if I see the F tilt, I can still do my move. So you can see how, like, that's pretty, you know, that's pretty crazy, because you can whiff punish one thing, but then if they do something else, you're still in a mix-up, right?
To the other.
Yeah. So this is what I sort of mean by you need to sort of, like, position yourself in a spot where you can react and then do something to whiff punish. So, for example, the grab, right?
Yeah.
But then if I don't see it, you know, I might have to do something else. The other thing you can do, which is what I was saying about, like, reading what they do after. So I'll just make them do something else quickly. So I'll do, like, an F tilt. Oh, that's not really very realistic. Maybe double F tilt, right? So maybe you're not too sure that the first one's going to happen, but you're really sure that the second one's going to happen. And that can get you close enough to be able to punish the second one, right? Does that make sense? Or
No, I understand.
yeah?
Yeah.
Or, you know. But then that sort of punish is a lot less guaranteed, right? Because, you know, they could do something else, obviously. But I think learning that sequence is really, really important. It's really good for, like, punishing foxes up tilt, you know, sheik forward tilt, moth like tilts, you know, all that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I think, like I said, we were sort of relying a lot on just, like, calling out their exact timing with, like, a laser aerial like this, right? And it's just, like, I feel like there's a lot more you can do from this situation, I guess. Like, this is still good versus some things, but it's going to really sort of, like, hamper you in others, if that makes sense.
No, I understand.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
I think that was good advice.
Cool. Did you want to... Let me see how long we've got. We've got, like, a couple more minutes. Let's watch through the rest of the VOD, just see if there's anything else that comes up.
Oh, you gotta update your Slippy, man.
Oh, yeah, I'm not a 2.8 one, am I?
We don't have to watch the rest of the VOD. I think you've covered enough. Would you be willing to summarize it?
Yeah, no, I can summarize it for sure, yeah. What I'll do is, I'll just make a quick, like, Google Doc for you quickly. And you get a little summary in Metafy as well after,
Wait, what? Metafy does a summary?
yeah, afterwards I'll write, like, a summary for you, but I
Oh, if
usually
you-
just copy whatever I put in here.
Okay.
So I think we talked. So just the rundown on what we talked about was practicing punishes out of shield on moves. So like Peach down smash, like Moth F smash, those sorts of things, right?
Yeah.
Think about how you're ending your combos. You want to put them in a position where they're sort of like weak to your next move. So, like, for example, with floaties, that's bear, right? Or versus some other characters, it might be like, you know, maybe you end your combo with Falcon in the corner, and then, you know, he's getting lasered a lot, right? Or something like that, where he's not in a particularly strong spot, compared to trying to, like, down air them, and then they sort of end up next to you and can counter hit you, right? Floaties. Behind you. So using less high nair approaches in the mid range. Try out more dash dancing to bait things out. Second laser in place. Approaching laser. I'd say they're the main ones you could try doing. Working on wave landing out of jump shines. Specifically in game. Recreate the exact scenario you struggle with it in Unk Punch, and make it the goal of a session rather than win-loss. Try to think more about how you're whiff punishing, and if you have time to punish the move itself or the thing after, or you have to read the thing after. We talked about, like, in in defensive spots. There's a mix-up between repositioning and throwing out a move to hit the opponent trying to chase you. What else do we talk about? I think they were the main ones, to be honest.
You got the wave dash out of shield.
Yeah, the wave attack shield. Yep.
I mean, honestly, I just need to work on like recognizing positional advantage and disadvantage and
Yeah.
things like that.
There's a thing with playing around shield grabs as well. I think shield grabs off of a close laser that's not on top of them. So we said like if you have to dash to get, if you have to dash to hit them, then they can grab you before that, right?
Yeah.
Before you can dash in. Yeah, cool, okay. So this is one that you can like edit as well if you want, you know, if there's anything else when you like, you know, if you rewatch it or whatever. Yeah, do you think that covered like all of the stuff you put in the Metafy thing? Feel like you have some stuff to work on that you
I mean,
know,
I
you can go away
think
with.
we can still go over more of it next time
Yeah.
because you know more specific character matchups and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. I think
These are good thinking points and stuff like that to analyze and work on.
yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff I said, I've sort of given you like a bit of a general overview, but yeah, it's sort of like matchup to matchup, it changes a lot. Like, you know, which sort of options you want to go for, what moves you're expecting, you know, those sorts of things.
Yeah, I think this is a good start.
All right, awesome. Cool. Okay. Well, yeah. If you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to message me, and I'll get back to you when I can.
All right, thank you, Frenzy. I don't want to
yeah,
keep you any longer.
No, you're good. All right. I'll see you in a bit then.
All right, see you.
All right. See you.